Good day, cadets. How's everyone doing? This is Captain V from 188 Cobra Squadron in Toronto, Ontario. I hope that you're all well, keeping safe and healthy. I would like to begin with a public service announcement. 2020 will indeed be a significant year. What was once considered normal will change dramatically as we adapt to a new normal. This situation is new for everyone, so we need to be patient and understanding. Until this time, we are indeed in uncharted waters. Although necessary for our safety, these changes may be challenging. Nonetheless, we need to stick together and hold fast. In doing so, I'm confident that we will get through this, not only together, but more resilient and stronger than before. In order to weather the storm, it is critical that we maintain good health, not just physically, but mentally as well. Maintaining good mental health is just as important now more than ever. While practicing physical distancing by staying apart at least 2 meters, we should still stay socially connected with each other. Fortunately, staying connected from a distance is possible with the internet and telecommunications. Although social networking or text messaging is popular, written communication is still limited. You can only go so far, even with emoticons and GIFs, and perhaps the odd meme from time to time. Instead, consider taking a break from the screen and having this conversation by talking over the phone. Being one-to-one, this interaction is more personal, and being in real time requires attention from both parties. Sometimes it's just easier to talk. In fact, listening is an important skill to develop. Even better, perhaps consider video calling, where you can smile and wave at each other. As we are staying physically apart, this face-to-face interaction is important to stay socially connected and maintaining good mental health. If you're looking to reach out elsewhere, a great option is Kids Help Phone, which is a free service that's available all across Canada. I actually know someone who works there, and she is a kind and caring person, and someone who is good to talk to as well. Speaking of which, there's a similar service called Good to Talk, which is available for post-secondary students at colleges and universities. You may reach either of these services by phone, text, or visiting the website for resources and more information. Again, both are great free services with qualified counselors and professionals to help you 24/7. In summary, remember to look out for yourself and each other by reaching out to your friends. Even if just to say hello, as a little effort does go a long way. But if you are ever feeling down, no worries. You can always reach out to someone, literally just a phone call away. So this concludes just my public service announcement, which I hope provided some guidance while we weather this storm together. At this time, I would like to take a step back and do a bit of personal reflection. As life is a journey, pausing once in a while and looking back is always good. If only to check your bearings and to ensure that you're still heading in a good direction. In particular, I would like to share my experience of being in the cadet movement for the past 20 years, and how cadets has been a significant part of my life and why I still remain in this youth organization after all of these years. Let us go back just a few months ago where we last paraded. March 2020. In addition to being a SEALs parade, this evening was distinct for two other reasons. The first being our yearly squadron photo night, and the second was more rare and significant, as that evening I was presented with the Canadian Forces Decoration. This signifies a milestone, 12 years of military service. Although this was anticipated, time does indeed fly by fairly quickly. Taking a closer look, engraved at the bottom is my rank, initials, and last name. Holding this medal in my hand is quite heavy. I believe that this is intentional for showing its significance both literally and figuratively. After all of these years, I cannot imagine not being in this cadet movement. The reason being is that cadets greatly aligns with my personal life mission. This mission being the following: big impacts in life, small footprints on earth. Although biased, I am particularly proud of my mission statement. I will begin by explaining the second half, small footprints on earth. I strongly believe that we must change the way we live to be sustainable and to minimize our ecological footprint. For all life to survive, we must collectively do this together, both locally and on a global scale. There is no planet B. Although technology is everywhere, electronic waste is a significant environmental issue that is rapidly growing. According to the International Telecommunication Union, a specialized agency of the United Nations, half of all e-waste is personal devices, where more than 6 kilograms is generated per person every year. As consumers, we need to change our habits to minimize this impact. Although new devices are released every year, we do not necessarily need to upgrade as frequently. For example, my personal computer, despite being 9 years old, still works fine today. In fact, this presentation was written and created on my 2011 Apple Mac Mini. For existing devices, we need to take better care so that they last as long as possible. In particular, for smartphones, consider getting a glass screen protector and a high-quality durable case. Even better, get a case made from materials that is sustainable or biodegradable, such as bamboo, cork, or even plant-based. If you like to get more involved, the World Wildlife Fund of Australia is a great start. For example, eliminating single-use plastics. Think before buying. Consider whether a product is sustainable or local and not made from animals or wildlife. And even better, changing the way we live. If we continue to make these changes, together, we will make a difference for all life on Earth. For me personally, I strive towards a simpler lifestyle. I believe that by having less, you can, in fact, enjoy more. For example, less things means less clutter, giving you more space and room to breathe. A smaller home means fewer things and therefore less cleaning, which leads to more time to enjoy life. In short, we should find that balance between our wants and needs. Even better, if by changing how we live, we can benefit both ourselves and the planet all at the same time. For me, the biggest impact that I have made is actually quite small in size. Despite common misconception, my smart car is very practical and fits my needs just perfectly. Need to run errands or grocery shopping? More than enough. Highways? Just as quick. In fact, during the summer, road trips are a blast. During the winter, despite seeing other cars getting stuck or fishtailing, I surprisingly have no issues, even without winter tires. Along with living in a smaller home, I know that I'm doing my part and reducing my ecological footprint on a daily basis. This past April, we recently celebrated 50 years of Earth Day. However, I strongly believe that Earth Day should be every day, as our choices and actions every day impacts not just our future, but the planet as well. Nonetheless, every year, I get involved and participate in community cleanup. This is similar to Cadets Caring for Canada in the early 2000s. For the past few years, I have been volunteering during the annual cleanup day for the town of Aurora, Ontario. This article was published in the local newspaper, The Aurorian, where I was featured in one of the photos. This began while I was an officer at 140 Aurora Squadron. Along with the cadets from 140, I am glad that this tradition still continues with youth today. I selected the Aurora Peace Park because the War Memorial, as seen in the background, is used for a Remembrance Day for the town. Along with other community groups, 140 participates in this ceremony every year, where I was proud to march with them in the 1 kilometer parade before and after the ceremony. At this time, I would like to give a shout out to all the cadets, officers, and the sponsoring committee at 140. 140 Aurora was my squadron for over 6 years, where I got to know this town and community. Just recently last year, 140 Aurora celebrated their 30th anniversary in September 2019, where the following month there was an amazing gala dinner to celebrate. Being a former staff, I received one of their challenge coins that evening. However, earlier that day was much more exciting, as 140 Aurora was officially given the freedom of the town. I was proud to participate, marching along with 140 again on this significant and now historic day. Once gathered inside the town hall, we heard the town crier ringing his bell and with his powerful voice making this announcement for all to hear. A very nice tradition, only best experience in person. Congratulations once again to 140. Although I am no longer at 140, I occasionally still continue assisting them for the Aurora Cleanup Day in April, the Aurora Street Festival in June, and the Magna Hoedown in September, which is a very large fundraising event for over 20 plus charities. This year, of course, being the exception. So that is only half of my mission statement. Small footprints on Earth. The other half defines my purpose. Big impacts in life. Helping others and making a positive impact in their lives is very rewarding for me. This is why I am an officer, specifically in cadets. Like most CIC officers, but not all, we were once cadets, which is where my journey begins. I joined cadets when I was 15 years old, when a friend told me, finally, after 3 years, about this well-kept secret. Despite joining late, I had to work that much more, but I became the Deputy Squadron Warrant Officer and retired at the rank of WO2. Upon graduating from cadets, I felt that there still was so much more to learn and grow. So I decided to go back and return as a civilian instructor and eventually enrolled as an officer. You may not know this now, but cadets has the potential to be the most defining and impactful experience of your life. As I am still here 20 plus years later, cadets remains one of the smartest decisions of my life. In fact, I cannot imagine my life without cadets after all of these years. I truly believe in the cadet movement, but what exactly is cadets? And what makes cadets so great? Let us take a moment to dive deeper into finding this answer. On the surface, people from the outside may think that cadets is about preparing for a career in the military. However, this is not entirely accurate. When we look underneath the surface, we discover that cadets is actually about youth development and providing opportunities to develop life skills through a number of fun, challenging, and safe activities. More importantly, these life skills are invaluable that could be applied to any career, not just the military. Similarly, being an officer is a learning experience that is unique and does not exist anywhere else. Despite being only a part-time job, this requires full-time dedication and commitment. Nonetheless, I truly believe that this is well worth our time and effort as cadets and youth are indeed the future. I want to take this moment to motivate all of you to remain in cadets for as long as possible. Over the years, I get disappointed when cadets quit or leave early, not graduate, before they realize and unlock the true potential of this well-kept secret. Regardless of whether you are a new recruit, a junior cadet, or even a senior cadet, for those who may begin to lose interest and find cadets boring or no longer relevant, I implore you to not give up so soon, as you may regret missing an opportunity that you never knew even existed. For me personally, my only regret was not finding out about cadets sooner. I strongly encourage each one of you to try out all of the opportunities that is available in cadets. So if you have not done so already, why not borrow an instrument from your school and go join the band? Why not improve your mental and physical skills and go join the drill team? Why not get off your couch and get active and join the sports team? Why not set your sights by going downrange and joining the marksmanship team? This list continues. If you like snow, why not go cross-country skiing and join the biathlon team? Are you passionate about a topic but a bit shy? Why not gain more confidence by speaking out at the effective speaking competition? If you hate gravity, why not go defy gravity by waking up early and go gliding? If you enjoy flying, why not sign up for ground school to learn the principles of flight? And if you are successful, you could even get a pilot license. The opportunities are endless. Summer training is another, which I will talk more about later. But if you're still not convinced, there are other reasons for staying in cadets. The friendships made from cadets are not only strong, but perhaps lifelong. For me personally, an excellent example is Major Riken. I have known him for over 20 years. In fact, we've known each other for so long that I'm considered part of his family. Not only do I consider him as my friend, but he is one of my best friends. A few little unknown facts about him. Outside of cadets, he is a teacher for over 27 years, mostly teaching music, which is where he started with cadets as the bandmaster at 700. Eventually, he joined as an officer so that he could contribute more to cadets, such as being a mentor to cadets and officers like myself. Let us go back again a few months ago to March 2020. I was very thrilled that my Canadian Forces decoration was presented by Major Riken, as there would be no one else better or more appropriate. Let me explain some history. When I rode in the CF over 13 years ago, the attesting officer, who is typically the commanding officer, just happened to be then Captain Riken. Major Riken would describe this coincidence as being full circle. I am really glad to know Major Riken, both personally and professionally, working along with him all of these years. He remains both my mentor and my best friend. Another reason for staying in cadets are the memorable experiences. Going further back to when I was a cadet, in 2002, 700 Squadron was very lucky to be selected for the Inter-Provincial Cadet Exchange, where we visited an Army Cadet Corps number 1787, the Rocky Mountain Rangers. If you guessed correctly, this was in Western Canada, specifically in a small town called Salmon Arm, British Columbia. How amazing is that? I still remember the mountain view was just breathtaking. This was once in a lifetime experience, all thanks to cadets. For those wondering, yes, Major Riken was there as well, who was a very brave second lieutenant at that time, escorting 30 cadets, including myself, along with 2 other officers. The following year, 700 hosted another Army Cadet Corps, this time from St. John, Newfoundland, number 2355, Church Lads Brigade. I still have their 50 years pin, where just last year they would have celebrated their 70th year. Being an officer and staying in cadets, there were more opportunities for even more trips. In 2011, 140 Aurora visited the world's largest naval station in Norfolk, Virginia, where we had a bus tour that was conducted by naval personnel. While there, we went aboard the USS Oak Hill, which is a dock landing ship, where the back aft is an open well deck for hovercrafts and patrol boats. Despite none of these boats, we did get wet on another ship, the USS Buttercup, which is a mock ship training facility officially known as the Damage Control Wet Trainer. As a Star Trek fan, just hearing General Quarters, battle stations was just awesome. The next day, we went to Virginia Beach and took a nice stroll along the 3-mile boardwalk. This is the statue of King Neptune, which is a tour site there that served just as well as our RV point. A few years later, in 2015, 140 went to the US once again, but this time to Washington, D.C. We visited the usual tourist sites, such as the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, and the Arlington National Cemetery. In addition, we spent a few hours inside the Air and Space Museum. However, my favorite was touring the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, where we got to learn about U.S. military history and naval customs and traditions, such as the story behind the "Don't Give Up the Ship" flag. Another part of this tour was seeing their swimming pool. Being a swimmer, I was intrigued to hear about some of their graduation requirements. One requirement is jumping off the diving platform at the highest level of 10 meters. And another requirement is, while wearing your uniform, except shoes, swimming for 40 minutes for at least 1,000 meters. Both are critical if ever needing to jump off a burning ship and swim a long distance to safety. Another memorable experience is definitely summer training. Every year, I encourage cadets to apply, as this is guaranteed fun. You get to meet cadets from other units, you have fun learning and doing lots of activities, the food is amazing, all while getting paid. This is a win-win situation for both cadets and parents. In fact, while working at Trenton, more on this later, I actually had a few parents after graduation parade asking me if we could keep their kid for the rest of the summer. Although I joined cadets late, I had the opportunity to attend 2 courses. Introduction to Instructor course in 2001 and Introduction to Aviation course in 2002. ITAC was quite fun, as we stayed at the nearby Loyalist College, which was a different experience from staying at Trenton the previous year. I really enjoyed ITAC the most, as we went gliding almost every other day. What a joy. As an officer, I worked at Trenton for 4 summers from 2011 until 2014. Unfortunately, I only stopped as I could no longer take this time off from work. Compared to the local squadron, working at any training center is very high paced, challenging, yet rewarding experience. I highly encourage senior cadets to apply for Staff Cadet, as this is the best summer job that any teenager could get. Similarly, I believe that all officers should work at a training center at least once to get the perspective of working in a much bigger and demanding environment. Summer training is just awesome, as there are quite a few perks being on a military base. For example, getting the opportunity for familial flights on military aircraft. In 2014, at Trenton, cadets and officers got transported on the very large Globemaster. While flying, the pilot turned on the night vision and we all started laughing. As you could see, both myself and Major Riken had a blast. Back in 2001, as a course cadet, I got to go on the Polaris Airbus, where we had front row seats while watching a CF-18 Hornet jet taking off. And in 2012, at CFB Borden, I was literally flipped vertically while flying on a Griffin helicopter. Going back to Trenton, another fun experience was a day trip to Kingston, Ontario. After touring RMC, the Royal Military College, the cadets and officers went to Fort Henry for the annual tattoo. That evening, we enjoyed listening to musical performances and marching bands. And after dark, this evening ended in a spectacular fireworks. What a great ending to my final year at Trenton. So these were just some highlights of my cadet experience so far. Looking back, I am very appreciative of each and every one of these moments. This is why I'm still part of this cadet movement, so that I can continue to contribute and, more importantly, give back. Although this was only my experience, every cadet experience will be uniquely different. However, as mentioned earlier in my key message, your experience will greatly depend on how much you get involved. There is no surprise that the operational cost of cadets is very expensive. This is why fundraising is absolutely critical and requires all hands on deck. All of you should be familiar with tagging, as we do this twice a year. As these funds goes directly into supporting the squadron, cadets, this is your chance to collect as much as possible so that you can contribute to making the best cadet experience ever. In general, these funds are used for expenses that are not covered by D&D, such as rental of facilities and storage, renting of musical instruments for band, food for optional activities, and of course, the squadron trips. Another fundraising source is the Air Cadet League lottery. Although you're only asked to sell 2 lottery books every year, if possible, the more the better, as additional sales over our quota goes directly into the squadron. This is another win-win situation as there are amazing prizes to be won. At this time, I would like to thank the Cadet Leagues for their efforts, and especially each and every member of the local sponsoring committee, as they are truly volunteers on a weekly basis to financially support each corps or squadron. In summary, remember to stay healthy, both physically and mentally. Stay connected with each other, go fundraise, and finally, get more involved. Why do you ask? Because cadets has the potential to be the most defining and impactful experience of your life. If you enjoyed this video, please comment below with your feedback, as I would like to know your thoughts. Furthermore, you may answer these questions, as we would be interested in knowing how is your cadet experience so far. So this concludes my video. Please feel free to comment below and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take care, and we will see each other soon.